Have you ever been there? You're in a relationship and everything feels like it's clicking. The connection is just electric. You feel seen, you feel like you're building something real. And then, bam! Out of nowhere, it's like a wall just shoots up. All that warmth is gone, and in its place is this sudden, confusing chill. So what is going on behind that wall? Let's dive into the psychology of why the people we care about can suddenly pull away. You know, this quote just nails that sinking feeling perfectly. You can be sitting right next to them, but you've honestly never felt further apart. Their texts get shorter, right? Their presence feels hollow. And that easy intimacy you shared, suddenly it feels like a distant memory. It's such a strange paradox. They're physically in the room, but they are not present with you. They've emotionally checked out. And this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? The moment the stakes get higher, the moment the bond really deepens, that's precisely when it all seems to fracture. You can't help but wonder, is it me? Did I do something wrong? Or is there something much, much deeper going on here? Together, let's try to uncover the hidden reasons behind this emotional retreat. Okay, so our first stop takes us deep into the human psyche, to a fear that is as powerful as it is primal. We're talking about the profound terror of being truly vulnerable. For some people, getting closer doesn't feel like safety at all. It feels like walking straight into the line of fire. So here's where it gets kind of wild. Our primal brain, the part that's all about survival, can't always tell the difference between emotional risk and actual physical danger. Think about it. To truly open your heart to someone is to give them the power to wound you, and to wound you deeply. And for a brain that evolved to protect you from any and all threats, that level of exposure can literally hijack your system and trigger a full-blown fight-or-flight response. And this internal alarm, it often leads to what we call self-sabotage. And let's be really clear here. This isn't some conscious plot to destroy a good relationship. No, it's a subconscious, preemptive strike. The logic is twisted, but it's simple. If I end this first, then I can't be abandoned. If I create the distance, I control the pain. It's a really misguided attempt to find safety by burning down the very thing that could be a shelter. And here's the crucial thing to understand. This whole process, it isn't really a choice. It happens almost automatically. The growing intimacy itself becomes the trigger. The mind, maybe flashing back to old wounds or just imagining new ones, just screams for protection. And what's the fastest, most effective way to feel safe? Build a wall. In that moment, the desperate need for emotional safety just steamrolls the desire for connection. But this instinct, this need for protection, it doesn't just come from nowhere. A lot of the time, it's an echo from the past, a kind of ghost in our emotional machine that was built on patterns formed a long, long time ago. Think of it like this. The way we bonded with our caregivers when we were kids basically created a blueprint for love. It taught us what to expect from intimacy. Was it a source of safety and comfort? Or was it unreliable, inconsistent, maybe even smothering? That early rulebook, well, it follows us right into adulthood, quietly directing our every move. So for someone with what's called an avoidant attachment style, the lesson they learned early on was that self-reliance is survival. As an adult, intense emotional closeness doesn't register as comfort. It registers as suffocation. To them, it feels like they're losing their independence, their very sense of self. You can almost see the internal conflict playing out here. When their partner needs more closeness, or when the relationship just naturally deepens, their internal alarms don't just ring, they blare. Their gut instinct is to pull away, to create space just so they can breathe. It is so vital to see this not as a sign they don't care, but as a deeply programmed defense mechanism designed to preserve their sense of freedom. All right, our third and final reason moves us from the past right into the present. It's an identity crisis that can erupt right in the middle of a perfectly happy relationship, the classic battle between me and we. As two lives start to merge, the I naturally starts to become a we. But for some people, this beautiful fusion can feel, well, it can feel like a hostile takeover. They start to fear that their individual goals, their personal identity, their very sense of who they are, is being diluted or just erased by the constant connection of the relationship. They literally feel like they're disappearing. So when they pull away, it's not always about rejecting their partner. It's often this desperate attempt to reclaim the I from the we. It's a search for solid ground, a way to remember who they are outside of the relationship, even if, to the person on the receiving end, it feels like a painful, total abandonment.
Whew, okay, we've explored some pretty deep and often hidden psychological territory. So let's bring it all together. When someone builds that wall, what are they really trying to say?
So we've seen that pulling away is almost never simple. It can be driven by a primal fear of getting hurt, a childhood script that basically equates intimacy with danger, or a powerful struggle to just hold on to a sense of self within a partnership.
And honestly, this might be the single most important takeaway from all of this. While being on the receiving end of that emotional distance is incredibly painful, it doesn't always mean the love is gone. More often, it's a symptom of a deep, internal war, a clumsy, and yeah, often hurtful cry for space and for safety. Now look, understanding the why isn't a magic wand, right? It won't instantly heal the hurt or fix the relationship, but what it does do is give us a new lens. It allows us to see the person behind the behavior. So the next time you feel that chill, you can ask this question: is this the end of the line? Or is this a desperate signal for something they just don't have the words to ask for?